Ethiopian Jews are biblical. Here rabbinic Jews. They have the Torah written law, but not the Talmud oral law. Their language is not Hebrew, but Ge'ez. Their leaders are priests Kohanim rather than rabbis. The history of the Jews in Ethiopia refers to people in Ethiopia who practice Judaism or have Jewish ancestry. This history goes back millennia. The largest Jewish group in Ethiopia is the Beta Israel. Ethiopian Jews were first brought to Israel from refugee camps in Sudan in a series of secret operations in the early 1980s by Israel's Mossad intelligence agency on the orders of the then Prime Minister Menachem Begin. Further operations followed, concluding with a mass airlift from Ethiopia in 1991 under Operation Solomon. The origin of the Ethiopian Jews is unclear, though most believe that they are the descendants of King Solomon and Queen Sheba, her real name Queen Balkis, and her son King Menelik I. There are many theories though, some believing they are the last tribe of Dan, while others believe they are the descendants of Christians who converted to Judaism. Hundreds of Ethiopian Jews have been airlifted to Israel, the first of several thousand waiting to emigrate there in a long-running saga. Most of their community has lived in transit camps in Ethiopia for years as questions over their eligibility has dogged the process. Operation Solomon. Airlifting 14,000 Jews out of Ethiopia. Operation Solomon. Airlifting 14,000 Jews out of Ethiopia close in 1991. Ethiopia was coming to the end of a long civil war and the government was close to being toppled. Israel was concerned for the ancient community of Ethiopian Jews and did a deal with the tottering regime to airlift thousands of people out of the country. The Israelis were given less than 2 days to carry out Operation Solomon. During that window, they flew more than 14,000 Ethiopian Jews to Israel on May 24, 1991. By the spring of 1991, Ethiopia had been in a decades-long civil war. Rebel forces were closing in on Addis Ababa, allowing a narrow window for Ethiopian Jews to Aliya emigrate to Israel. On May 24th, Operation Solomon was set a dramatic and daring airlift with no guarantee of success. JDC worked for months with the Israeli government, the Jewish Agency, and the American Jewish community to ensure the plan would be executed seamlessly. The American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, also known as the Joint or the JDC, is a Jewish relief organization based in New York City. JDC helped to negotiate and plan the rescue, which came on the heels of comprehensive health and welfare programs we had been operating for the thousands of Ethiopian Jews who gathered in Addis Ababa. With the Aliya operation planned in secret, a unique silent call system was mobilized to gather Ethiopia's Jews. In cooperation with the Israeli embassy, JDC provided food and fuel, coordinated transportation to the planes, and more. That weekend, 34 Israeli planes made 40 continuous flights, and just over 14,000 Ethiopian Jews were brought to safety in Israel, the largest humanitarian airlift to ever have taken place. In the end, what was designed to take 48 hours was completed in just 36, making Operation Solomon a modern miracle. And they don't stop there. They stayed committed to the thousands they rescued before, during, and since the 1991 airlift, launching and refining innovative, impactful programs to help support Ethiopian Israelis in their new lives. These efforts to help new immigrants to Israel are part of our historic work, in partnership with the government, to develop solutions to the country's most complex social challenges, so all of its citizens have the opportunity to thrive. Since 1914, working with our partners, JDC has rescued over 1 million Jews in danger in places like Georgia, Ukraine, and Sarajevo. Beginning in 1984, the IDF brought Ethiopian Jews to Israel in 3 airlift operations, the last of which was Operation Solomon in 1991. In May 1991, famine once again hit North Africa. In addition, the acting government was weak, and the likelihood of it falling to Eritrean rebels was high. Ethiopia's Jews were in danger. On March 7th, Uri Lubrani, an Israeli diplomat, reported on the worsening military situation in Ethiopia and advised the formulation of an emergency plan for the protection and evacuation of the Jewish community. The Israel Air Force allocated 6 Boeing 707 seconds and 18 Hercules planes capable of carrying 18,000 people. The mission had 2 stages: a 3-hour flight to Addis Ababa using the Boeing 707 plan, Boeing 707 plane, and another 5 hours to Israel using the Hercules aircraft. with 34 Israeli planes making 40 continuous flights over a 36-hour period. Just over 14,000 Ethiopian Jews were safely airlifted to Israel. The first Hercules landed in Addis Ababa around 10 o'clock a.m., and the crew immediately began assembling the command room. The first control tower in the northern part of the country did not even respond to our call, as the local city was taken over by rebels hours earlier, recalled one officer who landed the first Boeing in Ethiopia. There was a lot of traffic over the airport at Addis Ababa, and they had to wait for 30 minutes before they could land. The airport itself was very organized, and ground services worked very well. On March 7th, Uri Lubrani, an Israeli diplomat, reported on the worsening military situation in Ethiopia and advised the formulation of an emergency plan for the protection and evacuation of the Jewish community. The first part of the plan was to allocate $35 million to pay the Ethiopian government to allow the Jews to leave. The second element was to arrange for the airlift of all the Ethiopian Jews to bring them to Israel. The ground plan involved gathering everyone at the Israeli embassy and transporting them to the planes using specially designated buses. Each bus was to be escorted by an Israeli soldier of Ethiopian origin to accommodate as many people as possible. The seats of the planes were removed to accommodate up to 1,200 passengers on a single plane. Planners expected the planes would hold only 760 passengers, but the Ethiopians, many of whom were malnourished, were so light that many more could fit. I vividly remember those images from Addis Ababa, recalls one Aliya pilot. An incredible number of people walked toward the plane, organized in groups of 200. The doctors and paramedics provided ongoing support. The first Boeing plane took off at noon, followed by the rest. At one time, 27 planes were in the air. Five airlifted nearly 1,500 Jewish men, women, and children in 41 sorties. Less than 24 hours separated the first takeoff from the last. Never before, IF Commander Major Gen. Avu Ben Nun said, did so few pilots transport such a great number of people in such a short time. At 5 o'clock p.m. the first plane landed in Tel Aviv. The children came out first. Everyone looked tired and scared, recalled Einat Tiliel Shah, a reporter for Radiat Al-Harano. The people who arrived during Operation Solomon for their country with nothing but the clothes they were wearing. The children stayed close to their mothers. A young man carried his elderly father on his shoulders. They both bent down and kissed the Israeli soil. The ground plan involved gathering everyone at the Israeli embassy and transporting them to the planes using specially designated buses. Each bus was to be escorted by an Israeli soldier of Ethiopian to accommodate as many people as possible. The seats of the planes were removed to accommodate up to 1,200 passengers on a single plane.
צד שני!
תגיד לי, וזהו.
אני צריך לעשות עבודה פה היום, אני לא עושה את זה בשבילי. לא עושה את זה באף פרטי.
זו מצלמה ביתית או לא?
זה לא מצלמה ביתית, ותסתכל על הטאג שיש לי. ואל תפריע לי, אני מבקש ממך. תן לי רגע לעשות פן לאנשים שעולים, לא?
אני אבססי בראש החוצה. אני שם בחור. שאל אותו כמה בסוף הגיעו.
צביקה, תשאל כמה יגיעו בסוף פה. תשאל למטה. תשאל. ברור כלי.
תעקבו, שיעצרו שם את האופנוע, יקלו פה אחד על השני. מה קורה? שניים.
ילד עיוור.
שמתי לב, מרחוק עד כמה כאלה. אתה רואה? צוואר שלה? רוח מקדימה. אבל אותה מגן לדלת.
איפה זה 6 פה, נכון על הסולון? סליחה. תן רגע איפה קורה קדימה. איפה סולון? אפשר? נכון, שישבו פה. חבר'ה, אתם טסים? מי זה הצלם?
לא יכול שלא לפתוח ולהגיד שאני מרגיש כמו כולם את ההתרגשות ואת התחושה של המבצע ההיסטורי הזה. כל האנשים שמסביבך כאן מתרוצצים, שאת כולם מניעה בעצם אותה תחושה של מבצע הצלה.
אורי שמה, פניתי לאשר, הנה אורי, השנאים על ידו.
הכל נעשה פה ברגע האחרון, למה? מפני שעד שאישרו את הפעולה, זה היה כבר סגירת המשרדים, המורדים עומדים ממש מול השער, כל אחד פוחד, והסידורים האחרונים התחלנו אותם רק הבוקר. עד הרגע שאתם הגעתם עוד לא גמרנו את כל הסידורים. אנחנו עובדים תוך כדי עשיית הסידורים.
To accommodate as many people as possible, the seats of the planes were removed to accommodate up to 1,200 passengers on a single plane. Planners expected the planes would hold only 760 passengers.
שהוא רואה מה? טלוויזיה, בובה, הכל. טלוויזיה? כן. הבנתי.
As the passengers walked out, Prime Minister Sheikh Shamir and other government officials greeted them.
אנחנו סוגרים מעגל, מסיימים היום את המבצע הגדול, מבצע משה, שהחל לפני שנים על ידי מדינת ישראל, כדי להביא לארץ ישראל את השבט הפלאשי, יהודי אתיופיה, שחיכו במשך שנים רבות, שציפו לרגע הזה, שבו יתקבלו בזרועות פתוחות על ידי ממשלת ישראל, על אדמת ישראל.
At 5 o'clock p.m. the first plane landed in Tel Aviv. The children came out first. Everyone looked tired and scared. The people who arrived during the Operation Solomon for their country with nothing but the clothes they were wearing. The children stayed close to their mothers. A young man carried his elderly father on his shoulders. They both bent down and kissed the Israeli soil.
Baruch Hashem, kol hakavod.
On November 29, 2021, the Israeli government permitted 3,000 Falasha Jews to go to Israel. 2022. On February 2, 2022, the Israeli Supreme Court issues interim order halting Aliya from Ethiopia. Please continue to pray and raise funds to support Ethiopian Jews Aliya to Israel. Shalom.